Hello everybody, and welcome to Engines of... What the... Crankshaft. Oh no. Failure. No. Crankshaft failure.
Oh dear God, no. No.
Crankshaft failure. Crankshaft failure. Crankshaft failure. Crankshaft failure. Crankshaft failure. I'm just kidding, we're not talking about the GP30s today. We're talking about the SD45s. But anyways, now that every locomotive maintenance worker is now going to have nightmares tonight, let's continue on with the episode. Hello everybody, and welcome to Engines of the Rio Grande, where I cover locomotives that were owned by the Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad. In this episode, we will be talking about EMD's somewhat reliable, but powerful, SD45. Our story begins in the 1960s. By this point, pretty much every railroad in America and Canada has a diesel fleet, with NDM dieselizing by the 60s as well. This drive was fueled by every railfan's favorite locomotive manufacturer, EMD. A decade prior, thanks to diesel technology, EMD convinced pretty much every railroad to ditch their steam fleets no matter how old or new they were and replace them with their diesels. Soon enough, diesels were on every train and steam locomotive railfans and railroaders would fall into crippling depressions because all the steam locomotives were gone. And most likely they were constantly drinking their pain and depression away. In the mid-1960s, EMD already had a good start so far in building second-generation mainline locomotives with their jack-of-all-trades, the GP30. Try saying that 5 times fast. And they were determined to give the railroads a higher horsepower locomotive for them to haul their trains. To do this, they increased the size of its EMD 645 16-cylinder engine to 20 cylinders, which in turn increased the horsepower to 3,600 horsepower. 3,600 horsepower might be nothing in our day and age for diesels, but back then, this was a pretty huge power increase. The SD45 would sell over 1,200 units, and railroads loved it. Oh wait, never mind, you saw the beginning, you know how this is going. The SD45 suffered from multiple teething troubles, one of which being crankshaft failures. Essentially, the 20-cylinder prime mover had a tendency to break its crankshafts while in operation. This was caused by the engine block flexing under stress. Great fun! Also, railroads didn't like the flared radiators on the SD45s either. These service faults would result in a lot of railroads disliking the SD45s, and while EMD did make a variant that vastly improved the SD45, that being the SD45-2, it garnered only 136 sales to the Clinchfield, Erie-Lackawanna, Santa Fe, and Seaboard coastline. Although EMD ultimately did produce the SD45T-2 variant for the Southern Pacific, which ironically garnered more sales than the SD45-2. Since a lot of railroads didn't think the extra 600 horsepower was worth the additional maintenance and fuel costs, since the locomotives were found to be less efficient than the SD40s, they would choose to not buy the SD45-2s either. The SD45s would prove to be EMD's first problematic locomotive, and although it sold decently, the SD45 sales, and especially the SD45-2 sales, pale in comparison to the SD40-2 sales, which sold over 4,000 units up until 1989. Out of the 1,200 or so SD45s sold, a small portion was delivered to the Rio Grande. But how would they fare on the action road? Well... Much like a lot of other railroads, the Rio Grande was interested in the increase in horsepower and ordered their own SD45s in the mid-1960s. The Rio Grande ordered 26 SD45s numbered 5315 to 5340 and came in 2 separate batches. A first batch of 10 units numbered 5315 to 5324 were delivered to the Rio Grande between January and February of 1967, while the remaining 16 units, numbered 5325 through 5340, were delivered to the Rio Grande in April and May of 1968. Everybody was already having a great time by this point. The first batch of SD45s included low-mounted brake cylinders on the trucks, large snow plows, and radiator fan guards with solid discs at the center. The second batch of SD45s included high-mounted brake cylinders on the trucks, smaller snow plows, and radiator fan guards that were all wire with radial supports. In addition, these units had a spray feature in the radiator in order to cool down the locomotive engines, as the Rio Grande's lines often went through a lot of tunnels. This helped the locomotives be a lot less smokier in tunnels. However, this wouldn't last that long, as with the advent of the tunnel motors in the 1970s, the SD45s wouldn't make nearly as many runs through the Colorado Rockies as before. However, this wouldn't be all doom and gloom for the SD45s yet, as some SD45s were later assigned to coal trains between Carbondale, Colorado, Sunnyside, Utah, and Fontana, California, providing the coal to make steel at Kaiser Steel's Fontana, California steel plant. 6 units will be assigned to these trains, those being 5326, 5327, 5328, 5336, 5337, and 5338. However, after the Union Pacific, Western Pacific, and Missouri Pacific merged together in the early 80s, these units would be returned to the Rio Grande. However, unlike the tunnel motors and the SD50s, only some of these SD45s would only make it to the Southern Pacific, but not the Union Pacific. Beginning in 1985 and 1986, the Rio Grande began storing their SD45s serviceable. Occasionally, they'd be sent out for service, only to be stored again a few months later. Unlike the SD45s on the SP, those on the Rio Grande never underwent a rebuilding program under the Southern Pacific. After the ESP and Rio Grande merged, the Southern Pacific would begin selling off the SD45s. 5316, 5318, 5330, 5333, and 5336 would be sold to Morrison Knudsen and rebuilt into SD40M-2s. From there, they would be sold to the Canadian Pacific Railway and painted in the CanPax dual flag scheme and continue their service from there. But later, 5316, 5318, 5330, and 5336 renumbered to 5494, 5495, 5496, and 5497 respectively, would be scrapped, while 5333, now 5493, would find new life on the mobile grain in Saskatchewan. 5319, 5327, 5337, and 5338 were also sent to Morrison Knudsen and rebuilt into SD40M-2s, but were returned to the Southern Pacific after rebuilding and were renumbered 8678, 8680, 8682, and 8684 respectively. After serving the Union Pacific, 5319 was then sold to NREX and then WAMX, now numbered 4243. 5327, renumbered by UP to 2756, was most likely cut up for scrap. 5337, which became SP8682 and then UP2758, was sold to NREX, retaining its UP number only to later. At this point, any kids watching should cover their ears or mute the video. Go to Larry's Trucking Electric to find a bargain at Latex, but found out that it could kiss their asses because 2758 was such a stupid motherfucker and fell for that bullshit.
Guaranteed!
Okay, it's okay to unmute the video. 5338 became SP8684 and then UP2760, which was sold to the Missouri and Northern Arkansas while retaining its UP number. It was then sold to the Kyle Railway as 3207. 5315, 5332, and 5335 were sold to Omnitracks, with 5315 and 5332 getting sold to the Nebraska Central, and 5335 then getting sold to National Railway Equipment, then the CIT Group, which rebuilt 5335 into an SD40M-2. It currently resides on the St. Croix Valley Railroad. After a while, 5317 and 5321 were sold to Progress Rail, where 5317 became Montana Rail Link 344, and 5321 was sold to the Kansas City Southern as their 634, now classified as an SD40-3, then to the Allegheny Valley as 305, and later was reclassified as an SD40-2. 5320 was sold to Helm Financial and rebuilt into an SD40M-3. However, 5322 through 5326, 5328, 5331, 5334, 5339, and 5340 were retired from the Union Pacific after the UPSB merger, where 5322 was likely scrapped. 5323 was rebuilt into an SD40M-2 and sold back to the UP as 4734, then to CEFX and CITX as 2784, and finally to WAMX as 4203. 5324 was also likely scrapped. 5325 was rebuilt into an SD40M-2 for CEFX, then CITX and OFOX as 2787, until being sold to WAMX as 4223. 5326 was also likely scrapped. 5328 was rebuilt into an SD40M-2, became UP4791, then 2791, before being sold to CEFX, then the M&A, before M&A renumbered it as 3392, then to Kiamichi, retaining 3392. 5331 was sold to the D&I Railroad. 5334 was rebuilt into an SD40M-3 for Helm Leasing, before continuing service from there. 5339 was also sold to the D&I Railroad, and 5340 was also rebuilt into an SD40M-3 for Helm Leasing, before continuing their service from there. The only one that wasn't sold off was 5329, which got destroyed in a fire in 1995 and was likely cut up for scrap. All of these SD45s had quite long journeys getting either rebuilt and or sold to other Class 1s and or short lines. A troubled class of locomotives that the DNRGW owned, which worked together as family, now separated forever. Anyways, now that everybody is firmly depressed over some locomotives, let's move on. As for technical specs, the SD45s were equipped with a 20-cylinder EMD 645E3 prime mover, producing 3,600 horsepower while running at 904 RPM. They had a length of 65 feet 8 inches, although later on some SD45s would have a length of 65 feet 9.5 inches, a width of 10 feet, and a height of 15 feet 2 inches. They had a fuel capacity of 3,200 gallons and ran on flexi-coil CC trucks. Just like the tunnel motors and the SD50s, they had a starting tractive effort of 92,000 pounds, with a continuous tractive effort of 82,100 pounds. The SD45s had a top speed of 65 miles per hour and came equipped with Nathan M3R1 air horns. I unfortunately wasn't able to find a sample of the Rio Grande SD45s sounding that horn, but here's a video that shows what it likely would have sounded like on the SD45s. And just like the SD50, the SD stood for Special Duty, with the 45 as the model series. During the early days of the SD45s on the Rio Grande, they had small Rio Grande lettering, but as early as 1968, the SD45s began getting the large billboard scheme, beginning with 5336 and 5337, though some units did get it earlier than others. 5329 and 5333 would be involved in a wreck in Crater, Colorado, and after their repairs in 1969, they got the large billboard lettering. However, many SD45s would retain the small Rio Grande lettering until their retirement in the 1990s. 5316 through 5321, 5323 through 5325, 5330, 5332, 5335 and 5339 never received the billboard lettering. Despite the SD45s being a problem child for many railroads, including the Rio Grande, resulting in them being either retired earlier than most EMDs and or undergo rebuilding, they will still remain a part of the history of the Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad, the main line through the Rockies. Thank you for watching this video. Special thanks to Mike Studios for editing the SD45 and SD50 scripts. Next time, I plan on covering EMD's first second generation Jeep, the GP30s. For real this time, I swear. I may also include the GP35s as a double locomotive episode since both locomotives had the same prime mover, as well as starring in the 1973 movie Runaway, but I will be the one making that decision, but you guys can chime in as well. Still, thank you for watching, and happy Halloween to you all! Hopefully you guys have a good Halloween, get some good candy, and have fun wearing costumes. Just remember, if you have the nuts to play music from a non-Halloween holiday, especially a certain holiday that's well after Halloween, well, expect a less than friendly visit from a train of darkness.